This is the Bama Podcast with Marty Solomon. I'm his co-host, Brent Billings. Today we discuss the next two parables of Jesus in Matthew 13, treasures and pearls.
Absolutely.
But before we go any farther,
we have a guest.
We have a guest.
What's the right expression? Farther or further?
It's further.
Is it further?
Yeah.
Before we go any further.
Special guest.
Yep.
Corey Knadler. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Hi.
Corey, tell us who you are. Corey, well, I'll tell a little bit of who you are. Corey was WSU. Are you an alum yet?
I am an alum now.
You're all done.
Yeah.
With all your grad work?
Yeah.
Are you a working man now?
No, I'm trying to be a working man right now.
That's good.
Applying for jobs.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Ooh, so shout out to anybody out there. Do you need to be in an area? Spokane area?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any Spokane listeners out there that need a
Biochemist.
biochemist?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have any good jobs for you here at BaymaDiscipleship.com, but
No, that's too bad.
if somebody out there does, actually, if you want to raise money, I got lots of jobs for you. No, Corey is one of our Bama WSU alumni. I always get confused. Alumni, alumnus.
Alumnus is the singular.
This is becoming the verb podcast. Yeah. No, it's good. So tell us more about, let's see, you got a family now, right?
Yeah. So I just got married last October. Yeah.
Excellent. And anything else about you other than you're a biochemist? What else do you love to do? Favorite hobbies?
Well, my wife says that I'm good at cooking. I don't know about that, but that's what she says.
Hey, if she says that, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's like the one person you want to think that.
Yeah.
That's good. And that's excellent.
Yeah.
And I love your wife. Tell her I said hi.
I will do that.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
Does your wife have a name?
My wife's name is Maria.
Maria.
Yeah.
Maria Knadler. Excellent. You guys got married when? How long ago?
We got married in October.
Excellent.
It was outdoors.
He actually already said that.
Oh. Well, I don't actually listen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, you're current on our podcast.
Yeah.
I've been told, right?
Yeah.
So you've listened to session 1, session 2, session 3. What's your favorite session, Corey?
Well, I really liked session 1 quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I have really been enjoying this particular session right now where we're going through Matthew just bit by bit.
Man, that is, from everybody I've heard, that is popular opinion right there. I've heard of one person that was like, session 2, man, I loved that. Most people, if they made it, they talk about it as like, it was good, Marty, but it was a slog.
I would say
through session 2.
I would say that session 2 affected how I view those passages probably more than the other ones did.
Yeah.
But
not as captivating, not
No.
as stimulating, if you will. All right, we got parables to talk about. 2 more, in fact, but 2 more short ones. Hey, that sounds familiar. Did you say 2 mini parables, Marty? Does that sound familiar, Sir Billings?
Sure.
When was the last time you saw 2 mini parables?
Recently.
Yeah? What were we talking about when we saw 2 mini parables?
Mustard seed and yeast.
Yeast. And then last podcast, we said that Jesus was doing what? Can you remember?
He was telling a whole story.
Okay, yeah, so they asked him for further explanation on the weeds once they went inside, and we suggested that what he's probably going to do is he's going to go back through and reiterate the teaching that he already gave in the soils, the weeds, the seed, and the yeast, and he's now going to kind of reiterate those teachings, maybe by expanding, maybe adding a little bit, but we should find the exact same themes as we go through these parables. He shouldn't be teaching on new things. He should be repeating the teaching that he already gave in the previous. So I just find it interesting that there are 2 very small parables, just like there were 2 very small parables the first time.
A parallelism, if not a chiasm.
If not, I've wondered that. I've wrestled with that. Definitely a parallelism for sure, at least in my mind. I mean, I'm no literary scholar. I'm no Ken Bailey, but if I had to give my 2 cents, that's what I think.
All right. You want me to jump in?
Just do it before I say anything else.
The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it.
All right, so we're going to use the same Jewish hermeneutic roadmap that we've been using in all of our other parable studies in Matthew 13. So the first thing we're going to look at is what, Brent? Peshat. I'd asked Corey, but this episode hasn't been released yet for him in real time, so he hasn't heard this yet. I don't want to put you on the spot with that.
Yeah, I definitely don't know.
So Peshat would be this...
Wait. You've been through Bama before, though, right?
Yeah.
So like currently you're listening to it, but you've been through Bema materials before that as well, right?
Yeah.
So you're kind of familiar with it.
Yeah.
That's Brent Billings giving you a fair warning. That's like a shot across the bow. Like, be prepared.
Marty stumps me all the time. Most of the time I edit that out.
Yeah. He's getting excited that somebody else can be asked questions right now. I like that. Let's see here. Peshat. By the way, people say you're like their ambassador, like you're their priest. They're like, no, keep asking Brent Billings questions. He's like us. We get to like identify. They identify with you. You are their like mascot.
The identify with the embarrassing lack of answers.
All right, so we want to ask Peshat. So Peshat would be surface level reading. So Corey, let me just ask you. I'll read them again. And you tell me what, just as you just read it on the surface, what kind of things you take away here. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. What are some of your Peshat takeaways from that?
Well, the first thing that I notice about the passage is the kingdom of heaven is weird because they're kind of both weird stories. I don't know, but I think they're weird stories.
Very true.
And then obviously the second thing that I notice about the stories is that the characters in both stories are very devoted to the thing that they are interested in the story.
Absolutely. And they even, like, what does that devotion look like practically in the story?
Basically getting rid of everything they everything they have to get that thing.
This thing that they found is so valuable that everything else pales in comparison, and they can get rid of everything else just to get this thing. And he said, Brent, he said the kingdom of heaven is weird, which sounds to me like, what did we say about the mustard seed, and what was the word we used? The kingdom of heaven is, what was our Peshat takeaway for that? Let's see here. We said it was
counterintuitive.
Counterintuitive.
Yeah.
I feel like that fits with the whole weird theme that Corey just brought. The counterintuitive. Kingdom of Heaven is weird. It's counterintuitive. It's backwards. It doesn't just fit our normal assumptions, right? Okay.
Speaking of normal, is it normal for a guy to wander around and dig around in fields that he doesn't own?
No.
Because I wouldn't think so.
That is absolutely a great point, and hold on to that because I want to come back to at least half of that idea here in just a moment. I think that's actually a really good question. So the next thing after Peshat, we're going to be looking for what, Mr. Billings?
Remez.
Remez, right? So now we're looking for a remez, and probably one of the first things that would come to mind is going to be, and I always love this part, it's so like, because it's not supposed to be like this. It's not supposed to be a podcast where we just go through this systematically. It's supposed to be a wrestling match. It's supposed to be you and BibleGateway.com or other internet tools or just your mind or other people or your Bibles, but we kind of shortcut the process, so it always feels a little awkward to me. But nevertheless, one of the first passages that I'm going to think of, and I think most Jews are going to think of when you think of a treasure hidden in a field, is going to be Proverbs 2. And I think you've got, Corey, do you have Proverbs 2, 1 through 8? Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, listen to this.
Proverbs 2, 1 through 8.
Yes.
My son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding, indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield for those whose walk is blameless. For he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones.
All right, and that verse right in the middle there, if you search for it as hidden treasure, like seems like a really blatant line that if I'm hearing a parable about somebody searching for, and you said like searching aimlessly and people's wandering around in people's fields and finding hidden treasure, that's a passage that's going to come to mind. Add to that the fact that a pearl, which is going to be the very next parable after the hidden treasure, a pearl is actually a Hebrew idiom for a proverb, for a teaching, for a nugget of wisdom. They call those things pearls. So those things like really go together, and I hear that and I think to myself, golly, that has to be a remez on some level. At least I'm going to be wrestling with that and thinking about that. I don't know if it's the remez, but in order to get to that point, I want to move towards the next level, Brent.
Drosh.
The drosh, all right? So let's see here. If this is our remez, if Proverbs is a remez, then this would mean that at least part of Jesus's drosh surrounding this teaching is that wisdom and understanding of the kingdom is something that must be sought after and dug for. Like it's something you have to work for. You don't just find it. Like he wasn't just wandering down the street and saw it on a shelf. He was wandering around in a field and dug it up, right? This takes work. In other words, if you aren't willing to do the work of preparing your soil, you aren't going to find the wisdom buried in the field. The wisdom is, again, buried, just like what, Brent?
Like treasure.
Like treasure, or like, what else have we talked about that's been buried?
The seeds.
The seed, or even, by extension,
yeast.
Yeast buried in
in
dough,
bread, yeah.
right? This kingdom of heaven is, it is weird, Corey. It's this thing that's always counterintuitive, and it's something small, and it's something hidden, which stands in contrast to this John the Baptist narrative, which is it's loud, it's coming with trumpets, it's showing up, and Jesus saying, no, it's not, it's buried, and you have to go digging for it, and you have to find it, and this is hard work, right? So that's at least on some level. The wisdom is buried. Notice the emphasis on Proverbs 2 about understanding, that word understanding. Now, go back and think about the parable of the soils. What was the difference? Maybe, Corey, you can remember this too. You haven't heard the podcast, but you can remember the parable of the soils, right? What was the difference, Corey, for the learner who was the good soil? The one who hears the word and what? Do you remember? The good soil is the one who hears the word and...
I don't know.
Okay, let me give you some hints and see if we can dig it out, and then Brent can be searching his notes right now, because I'm coming to him next. Let's see here. So the rocky path is the one who hears the message, but evil one snatches it away. Then there's the rocky soil who hears the word and at once receives it with joy. And then the thorny soil, the thorns, is the person that hears the word, but the worries of the world. But the good soil is one who hears the word and
takes it in.
Almost.
Okay.
What do you got, Brent?
Receives
Puts it into practice, maybe?
Oh,
Is that what it
man,
is?
not quite. But the word understands, which is it ties me back to Proverbs 2, because how many times did Corey read the word understanding? If you look for understanding, it's this repetitive idea, understanding. And when I think of the parable of the soils, I think about the one who hears the word and understand it. The understanding comes because somebody is willing to break up their unplowed ground, clear it of rocks, and burn away the thorns. It comes to the one who searches for truth as for hidden treasure. That's what Proverbs 2 tells us. However, there's one glaring issue I'm going to close our discussion with today in this whole thing. And it's the characters and the parables appear to be off. Notice that with every parable told in this teaching, who is the man, Brent? Who's the man in the parable of the sower? Or the soils, excuse me.
Oh, in the soils, it's God.
It's God. Who is the man in the parable of the weeds? The owner of the field.
God.
God. Who is the man who... the farmer who goes out and plants a seed and a mustard seed in his field.
God.
And who is the woman? We're going to get some people theologically riled up now. But who is the woman that bakes leaven into her bunch of dough? Obviously Sarah, but the implication parable
It's God.
is God. So
In
who
the
should...
image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them.
Absolutely.
It all works out. It's
It
there.
all works out in the end.
Just get back to Genesis
Yeah,
and then come back when you're done.
Absolutely. Not only Genesis, let's go to Psalms, by the way. Did you know that there are three, the rabbis point out, there are three different, this is a total side note, by the way, bonus material, podcast episode 113, bonus episode. So in the Psalms, there are lots of different pictures for God. Like God is a fortress, God is a rock, God is, all these different things. So God is animals, like God can be lots of things. There's only three people characters, like human beings, that God takes the form of in the Psalms. One of them is a father, obviously. One is a nursing woman. So the woman becomes the image of God. I think 3 times in the Psalms, God is talked about as a nursing, as a mother who nurses at her breast, so God. And then the other one is a shepherd. Now let me ask you, Corey, can you remember anywhere else where I find a shepherd, a woman, and a father?
I can think of lots of places with shepherd, woman, and fathers.
Can you think of anywhere where they're tied together?
Maybe in Genesis, maybe with...
Let's go Jesus. Think Gospels.
Okay, think Gospels. Okay, shepherd, woman, and father. Well, at the birth of Jesus would make sense.
Okay. Ooh, that's good. Oh, man, this is actually getting better and better the more we have people in this room. Get more people in here. This is getting better. My material's growing. Okay, what else? Jesus actually has a teaching where he talks about a shepherd, and then a woman, and then a father. Brent, do you know where I'm headed? There's a shepherd with a lost sheep. There's a woman with a lost coin. And there's a father with a lost son. Luke 15.
We haven't talked about that yet, though.
Which we won't, because we're not using Luke to go through our Gospels. So I thought, why not brace ourselves and stop for a moment and be like, hey, Jesus catches this woman thing as well and uses it to talk about who God is. He does it very, very intentionally in those parables. Actually, not parables. One parable, 3 stories, if you read Luke 15.
We have the 2 shortest parables in the Gospels today, so
right,
we're going to throw in as many more
as
we can on top of it.
That's right. Okay, so my point being, what was my point? How did we end up there?
Now, wait a second. We're not going to talk about Luke 15? Seriously?
No, we can't do that now.
Well, not now, but
my goodness.
Are we not going to cover that later?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, man.
Don't bring it up, because then our listeners will
All
demand. Right. They'll demand that we cover it.
All right.
All right. What were we talking about? Why did that come up? Woman. The woman in the dough. Yeah. So God is the farmer. God is the farmer. God is the farmer. God is the woman. So in all these parables, who will the person, we'll do the fish in the net in our next episode, but who's the one in charge of the fishermen with the fish in the net? It's going to be God. So who does the man see when we do this parable here, and we're like, well, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who searches for hidden treasure. The kingdom of heaven is like a merchant. Who does the merchant and who does the man have to be if we're consistent, Brent?
Seems like it has to be God.
Seems like it has to be God. But we read those parables and we think, oh, it's like me. I have to go out and search for hidden treasure. Like if all I sit there and see is Proverbs 2, then I'm the man. Which I pause and I go, wait, but I'm not the man in any of these other parables. So is there something that we could be missing? I think, this is my own personal opinion, and I always like to specify that before if I've never heard somebody else teach it, I'm always quick to let you know this is just my idea. But I believe Proverbs 2 is not our primary remez. I think it's the one that would have come to mind first, but I think the disciples would have stepped back and went, wait a minute, we're not the man, so what is the passage that does come to mind? I think, what did I tell you a couple weeks ago, Brent, I thought were like the source for so many of Jesus' remezes?
Ezekiel.
Book of Ezekiel. Guess what happens in Ezekiel 16? You got this one, Corey? Read us Ezekiel 16, verses 1 through 7.
The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, confront Jerusalem with her detestable practices, and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says to Jerusalem. Your ancestry and birth were in the land of the Canaanites. Your father was an Amorite, and your mother a Hittite. On the day you were born, your cord was not cut, nor were you washed with water to make you clean, nor were you rubbed with salt or wrapped in clothes. No one looked on you with pity or had compassion enough to do any of these things for you. Rather, you were thrown out into the open field. For on the day you were born, you were despised. Then I passed by and saw you kicking about in your blood, and as you lay there in your blood, I said to you, live. I made you grow like a plant of the field. You grew and developed and entered puberty. Your breasts had formed and your hair had grown, yet you were stark naked.
And I hear this, and I think to myself, my goodness, we have God finding something in the field. And if you read the rest of Ezekiel 16, if you go on in your own time to do that, it's this long discourse about how much God loved and cherished this treasure that he found in the field. And I wondered to myself, is the parable of the treasure and the parable of the pearl, is it a parable of what God found? And it's not about us primarily finding wisdom. The parable actually speaks about God finding his people. That's juicy. Now, to add to that, let me tell you this, and nobody's going to believe this. So you're going to have to go on Blue Letter Bible or Bible Hub or whatever Bible tools you use, and you need to look this up for yourself. But in that passage above, there's a phrase there that says, I made you grow like a plant of the field. First of all, come on now. With all the growing of plants that we've had in the parables, tell me that's not just fantastic. Trees and mustard seeds and weeds and soils, my goodness. I made you grow like a plant of the field. You grew up and developed and entered puberty. The Hebrew phrase for entered puberty is actually translated most literally as beautiful jewel, only it's put into like a verb form, which is what makes it pretty tricky to translate and why they translate it entered puberty. The language of Ezekiel is so unbelievably sexual throughout the whole thing. I don't mean that in a crass way, in a crude way. It just has this very electric, provocative, sexualized language for its original Hebrew audience, and we translate it away in Ezekiel all the time. It's so frustrating. But that the King James, to give you an idea, translates it as thou hast increased and waxen great, and thou art come to excellent ornaments. Thou art come to excellent ornaments, which is much more literal translation. The phrase there, entered puberty, is literally excellent ornaments. Come to excellent ornaments.
The ESV, for a slightly more modern take,
I love this.
says, you grew up and became tall and arrived at full adornment.
It's a great like middle ground in that translation. Strikes the balance between what the NIV said and what the King James was doing.
So would you say that that phrase is sort of like an author in like the 1800s writing about somebody blossoming into their womanhood or whatever?
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. This adornment, that's a great way to think about it. Absolutely. Like a Victorian age type language type situation. Now, in Hebrew thought, another thing that we need to stack onto that is the word for jewel. In the Hebrew, there's not a whole lot of words for some things. So the word for jewel, a pearl, is not a really present idea in Hebrew language, ancient biblical Hebrew language. So the idea, if you wanted to say pearl, you'd really be stuck with, and there's a couple options, but you'd really be stuck with the idea of jewel. So you need to read jewel and pearl interchangeably. So if I were to look at that again, I said to you, live, I made you grow like a plant of the field. You grew and developed and beautifully pearled, beautifully jeweled. Notice in this additional remez allows us to see the man and the merchant as God character. This also adds a significant layer to the teaching in that the kingdom of heaven is like the truth that when God found his people, i.e. you and me, there's actually multiple yous, Corey and me and Brent and you, dear listener, when God found us, he found a treasure, a true gem, a pearl in a field. You were important enough to God that when he found you, there is nothing he would do. There is nothing he would not do to acquire you. He would sell it all, which is obviously the story of the gospel. He would sell it all and do anything to acquire you. There's nothing he wouldn't do. There's no length he wouldn't go, just like Corey pointed out. He sees your true value and is willing to sell everything in order to buy you as his own. Some juicy thoughts, but that is what I have for you when it comes to the parable of the treasure and the parable of the pearl.
Unfortunately, the Septuagint does not help us in this situation.
Well, again, and I'm telling you, if you're listening, you don't have to like this idea. You don't have to agree with me. I'm telling you, Matthew wasn't written in the Greek. And there's just so many reasons why. And that's one of them. One of many. One of so many. I just can't make the Septuagint work hardly ever with Matthew. And it should. It should be obvious. And it just rarely works. Which tells me we have somebody translating it from the Hebrew into the Greek and not doing a very good job. Unless it's directly quoting the Septuagint, at which point it always gets right. So that's my take. That's my hot take, Brent Billings.
Just bolstering your theory.
Absolutely.
All right. 2 parables with some bonus material.
Absolutely.
Good times. Corey, thanks for joining us. Corey Knadler. You can find him on Twitter.
Ooh, this is fantastic.
Fish Giblets.
Fish Giblets.
Oh my gosh.
FishGiblets.
Yes.
So please contact him and let him know how wonderful his voice is.
How many tweets have you put out there, Corey?
I don't know, a few, not many.
Oh, okay. That's a few. That's good.
You might want to turn on your notifications. It's about to light up.
I like it.
All right. Well, if you have any other questions about the show, go to BEMADiscipleship.com. Thanks for joining us on the BEMA podcast. We will talk to you again soon.